Queen's Voice. Thanks for tuning in again. Peter Kefalas with you. On this segment, we're going to talk about New York State and the Green New Deal, these Green New mandates that were started by our last disgraceful governor, Andrew Cuomo, and our current disgraceful governor, hapless Hochul. So let's get into the story, guys. So Lee Zeldin, who is the EPA chief, blasted the green energy laws here in New York as delusional and a catastrophe. So Zeldin, the EPA chief, is saying that the New York State Climate Act, advanced by Governor Hochul, that's our current ridiculous governor, and the Democrats here in New York, is quote-unquote delusional and quote-unquote a left-wing recipe for an energy and economic catastrophe. Now, who would have thought? We all knew that back when they were making these insane mandates, things weren't going to work out well. Our energy costs throughout New York City, throughout New York State, skyrocketing. Con Edison, National Grid here in the city. I'm personally paying a lot more than I've ever paid. My house hasn't gotten bigger. I'm not using more energy. I'm not using more gas. I'm not having more people here, yet I'm still paying more. And we all are. So this is something where the Green New Deal, the Green New Scam, it's a sham to me where it's not feasible. I said that from the beginning, and it's only going to hurt us, and it is hurting us now because energy prices go up, everything else goes up. And when we're dealing with trying to get out of Sleepy Joe's economy and deal with all the mess he left, this doesn't help when you have radical left-wing nut jobs in Albany, like hapless Hochul. We're unfortunate to have her as a governor, that pursue and push this agenda, which is just garbage. So look, about a week ago, the Trump administration had halted the Empire Wind Power Project. And that's off the New York, New Jersey coast. And that was a setback to the state's meeting the goals under its much criticized green energy law. So look at it like this. We're mandated now, I believe, in 2030 that hapless Hochul doesn't want us to have a choice. We can only buy electric cars. No gas, no diesel, no ethanol. Doesn't sound very American, does it? Of course not. Now, why is she doing this? I think that her goals of doing this are not even attainable, and she doesn't care who she hurts. She obviously has an agenda, and it'd be interesting to see what companies would benefit the most from this and who they've donated a lot of money to in New York City and New York State so far, especially in Albany. Just talking out loud. Now, Zeldin said that the goals don't have a doable plan and that the people who can least afford economic pain will suffer the most. What a surprise. So we've already got a lot of folks here suffering up and down the spectrum, no matter who you are, where you live. Everyone's suffering through this inflation and these horrible energy prices due to misguided, stupid, ideologue policies. Let's just call a spade a spade. Now, New York State, we banned fracking, banned gas hookups for new building construction, correct? That's happened recently. And we've banned gas stoves. We have a mandate, like I said, to sell only electric vehicles in New York State in 2030. And this is something that we've continued. Also, one bad thing in New York State, we've continued to block new pipeline construction. So we're sitting on all this natural gas here in New York, upstate in particular. And on one side of the border, you've got Pennsylvania, and they're fracking. And they're extracting that gas, and they're creating a lot of good, high-paying, mostly union jobs from what I've seen. And they're thriving on that side of the region, if you will. And then look at us in upstate. Upstate's been decimated for decades upon decades upon decades. You took the manufacturing away. You let those cities and those counties, linger. The population's dwindled. And now you have an opportunity to not only create high-paying jobs, many of those will be high-paying union jobs, but you have an opportunity to have cheap energy that we have in abundance in New York State. But hapless Hochul, our governor, she's a sick woman. She won't do it. Everything that can benefit us and bring the cost down, make our lives better, she's against it. She fights tooth and nail for the wrong things. time after time, and she's tone deaf, to say the least. I mean, we can go on, but this is a woman who doesn't listen very well, or she has surrounded herself with an inner circle of yes and men, women who just yes her to death, and she's that delusional. Remember, Lee Zeldin, speaking of him, was the EPA chief now. He almost beat her the last election. I don't think New York State this time is going to allow her to win. I think she'll be toppled. I think this person, whoever the Republicans pick, will be a formidable candidate. And I think we will end her reign of terror, as I like to say, November of 2026. But it just goes to show that here in New York State, we are a one-party rule state for the most part. Not as bad as the city, but still a one-party rule. And the Democrat, Socialist, Communist, Marxist rule with an iron fist. And they have terrible mandates, regulations, ideas, and policies that, guess what, only hurt we the people. So it's just insane that energy is in abundance in New York State, but we won't touch it. But on the other side of the region, our neighbors in Pennsylvania are smart, and they're thriving, extracting all that natural gas, making money, keeping their energy costs down. The exact opposite with the ideas in Albany that hapless Hochul and her administration bring to the table. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Is anyone surprised by this story? Share in the comments what your thoughts are. How many people out there are still against fracking? How many people are for fracking? So let me know in the comments. But listen, as always, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And if you haven't liked, shared, or subscribed, please do so. It costs you nothing. Takes a few seconds, and it means a lot to us, helps us grow, and we appreciate everybody out there for doing so. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, obviously, but until we come back with another segment, everybody take care of yourselves and be safe. This is Peter Kefalas with Queen's Voice. Thanks for tuning in.